smart. Everybody's playing smart right now. Let's stay that way.
Rule 24C. No player shall enter or cross this right-of-way except at such a distance that not the slightest risk of a collision or danger to any player is involved.
What's a foul? A 90-degree cross doesn't necessarily have to be a foul. It depends on speed, it depends on distance.
In this crossing example, there is adequate distance, and therefore no risk of danger. Again, the player in the light jersey obviously crosses 90 degrees to the line of the ball. However, it is not a foul, as no other player is on the right-of-way nearby. In this example of entering the right-of-way, there is not adequate distance. In this crossing foul, dark is at fault. The player in the dark jersey enters from the near side in front of his opponent in the light jersey, who is following on the offside right-of-way. Foul on the dark player. Here, too, there is clearly not enough distance for the player in the dark jersey to attempt to cross. The dark player fouls by crossing his light player's right-of-way and actually causes a collision. While directly impeding a player's right-of-way is always a foul, crossing or entering may not be if it takes place at a safe distance. In this crossing example, the player at lower left moves up the right-of-way as the opponent in the dark jersey approaches from off the line at right. The dark player jumps quickly across the line and does so without the slightest risk of collision or danger to the opponent, who is trailing behind on the right-of-way. Notice the distance between the dark player as he crosses and his opponent. No foul.
20 yards between two players who are going completely different speeds may be a foul. If the player crossing is going slow, or if he drops in on the right-of-way and is going slow, the player behind is closing the distance, the relative speeds of the two players is all important in any crossing foul.
It is the relative speed as well as the distance between two players that determine when it is safe to enter or cross the right-of-way. Here, the number 3 player in the dark jersey turns quickly on the new line as his number 4 opponent in the light jersey hurries to get to the ball. The light player comes from off the line at a wide angle. Notice dark look up from the ball as his opponent enters his right-of-way. By the time the light player is in the offside lane, the dark player is up to speed and closing the distances between them. Foul on light.
We say just to look up. Sometimes you're running with the ball, and the guy in front of you has to give you a free pass for you, your horse, and the ball. And he shouldn't even slow you down or make you look up to cause a foul.
Even at the throw-in, relative speed and distance are the prime considerations. Watch as the player in the dark jersey crosses the player in the light jersey. The dark player was at a much slower pace than his opponent, who was already at a canter, and closes the distance before dark can hit. Foul on dark.
But if a player goes down the field with the ball and he's going as fast as he can, and a player enters the line without causing any dangerous situation, I mean, there's a fine line there, and you have to define that fine line, which is very difficult to do.
In this example, relative speed is in favor of the crossing player. Although the light player turns fairly quickly, he does not get moving on the new right-of-way before the dark player crosses and escapes with the ball. No foul on dark.
The most dangerous foul is not necessarily defined, but it's when a player coming at speed has to check or slow down or pull out of the play to avoid an accident.
Here, the cross by the light player in the foreground after his offside backhander is dangerous. Watch as the light player approaches from the right. Notice his opponent in the dark jersey on the right-of-way behind, checking to avoid a collision, and how quickly, due to the difference in relative speeds, the distances close. Foul on light. In this play, a near-side backhander has the same result. Watch the dark player as he comes from outside the right-of-way to make a near-side backshot. His angle to the line and failure to flatten out on it before his stroke cause him to cross. Again, note how the player in the light jersey he fouls is forced to pull up to avoid a possible collision. Relative speeds between the two players is fairly equal here. Foul on dark.
It shouldn't be a foul just because you crossed me. It should be a foul because there was an element of danger added in there. Not actual danger, not that I had to pull up to keep from running over you, but near danger, or that I had to look up, or that I had to slow down to keep it safe.
Danger or the perception of danger are the determining factors in a cross. In this example, it is the potentially dangerous situation caused by the player in the light jersey cutting across his opponent's right of way that causes him to pull up and out of the play. Foul on light. In this crossing foul, actual danger is evident, although the player who crosses does not attempt to hit. As the player in the dark jersey pushes down the right of way at full speed, the player in the light jersey crosses him at a much slower speed and with no distance between them. Also, from this side angle, note the front legs of the dark player's pony entangled by the hind legs of the light player's pony as they pass. Remarkably, no one went down. Foul on the light player. This is an extremely dangerous crossing foul.
The old wives' tale version of the rules, or the misconception of the rules, is that it's all right to cross as long as he doesn't hit. It's not all right to cross as long as you don't hit. It's all right to cross with enough speed and distance so that it's safe.
The large angle from which the player in the light jersey approaches this line is an important factor in his inability to make this play without fouling the opposing player in the dark jersey. The head of the light player's pony crosses the line and actually collides with his opponent, who excessively appeals the foul committed against him. As in the previous play, the defending player here in the dark jersey comes in at a very sharp angle to the near side right of way. Watch as the dark player approaches the light player from off the line. Although the player in the dark jersey flattens out and avoids actual contact with the player in the light jersey to his left, it appears that part of his horse crosses over the line before he hits the ball. The umpire's viewpoint directly behind the play is a good indication Dark deserved the whistle he got. As this play clearly demonstrates, while a polo ball travels in lines and turns at angles, a horse moves in circles. The player in the dark jersey hits an angled neck shot that carries his pony across the line before he can react and return to the right of way. Then he circles back and crosses both right of way lanes for an offside shot and fouls the light player. Dark's foul is a common one after taking a neck shot, as the player often fails to realize how far from the line of the ball he has actually traveled.
He has clearly left the line of the ball. As soon as he's taken that neck shot, he's ridden over the line of the ball, and the only possible play he could make would be to curl around, get back on the line in the secondary right-of-way on the near side, and take a near side shot, forward or backward, whichever way he wants to do. He can't make a circle and come to the line at a big angle to the line and expect to have a right to hit that ball.
Watch the number 2 player in the light jersey as he makes a cut shot to the right. Watch Light again. After making the shot, Light attempts to circle back, but as he circles back, he is met by the number 4 dark player, who wisely drops on the right of way Light has created, catching him in a 90-degree cross. Foul on Light.
And a lot of low goal players, and I've seen it a fair amount in high goal too, that don't have the concept that they left the line that much. They don't realize how far they've left the line before they come back to the ball, and they think they've just turned and gone right down the line.
This example illustrates the proper way to turn on the ball. The player in the dark jersey enters the right of way at an angle to it and immediately taps the ball forward in order to change the line. Now he is on the right of way and can take his time in setting up, turning the ball again, and finally taking his shot downfield.
When may you enter the right of way in front of another player? When can you cross the line in front of another player? You can do it when there is no degree of risk of danger, I believe is the way the book puts it, to either the player or his horse or the opponent and his horse in the process of the crossing the line.